Lando Vannata versus Yancy Medeiros will be taking place on the main card of UFC Fight Night 167 on ESPN Plus 25. Rio Rancho Anderson versus Blachowicz 2 this weekend. I'm looking forward to the fight. I really am. This is going to be a great one. Lightweight. It's a relevancy bout is basically what it is. It's not the highest level of competition. Both guys are coming off some losses and a bit of a downslope in their career right now. It's a relevancy contest. Okay, it's like Jake Paul versus the guy that he fought. I can't quite... Moving on. We're not talking about that shit. Anyway, Lando Vannata versus Yancy Medeiros. Relevancy bout. Who's going to stick around at lightweight? Who's going to still be a name that people talk about? Because I feel like whoever loses this one is kind of going to fall off the face of the earth. You know? You got Lando Vannata, who in his last 4 fights has gone to a loss to Drakkar Klose, which was a close fight. No pun intended. Drakkar Klose. Very funny from me. I really enjoyed that joke. And then he moved on to a draw with Matt Frevola, which, again... Very close fight, very razor close, that's why it was a draw. It literally was a fucking draw by majority decision. Marcos Mariano, he submitted by Kimura, but that wasn't the most high level of opponent. And then Mark Diakiese, a competitive bout. Diakiese got the job done. I don't know what to say about Lando Vannata, to be honest. He also went to a draw with Bobby Green just a fight before that. He has a very weird style where he's very good and he's very fun to watch. But he just accepts the beating a little bit, you know? Against Tony Ferguson, you saw it very well. I know Tony Ferguson's obviously one of the best in the world. We'll see if he is the best in the world in April. Fingers crossed, don't jinx it. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully it happens. You know what they say, 5th time's a charm. That's always the old saying, I'm pretty sure. I just feel like Lando Vannata is too open to take damage sometimes. I would like to see him utilize a little bit more head movement because he moves his feet so well. And he moves his head very well coming into exchanges. But once he's finished, he lingers with his hands down. I've always noticed that about Lando Vannata. I've watched a lot of his fights because if you want to watch fun fights, watch Lando Vannata's fights. He moves his feet well. He has very good head movement on the way in. Then he does his work, and when his opponent's still standing there in front of him, he just sort of lingers. Like he doesn't have that urgency to get back out of range because he's the shorter, smaller guy. That's his job. Get in, get out with no consequences. But he gets in with great little loopy head movement and all that shit that he does. And he just lingers there with his hands down. And he punishes it. It works. Yancy Medeiros, if he's going to do anything, Mark Diakiese opened up a hole with Lando Vannata's game about the leg kicks. If you leg kick him, he's not going to be able to use all that footwork that he loves. Same story with Wonderboy Thompson, kind of. Seems to work on those movement guys, chopping away those legs. Because that's common sense, you know? So Yancy Medeiros is definitely going to be throwing some leg kicks here. I feel like Lando Vannata is going to be looking to... He knows that. You know, he knows that Yancy Medeiros is going to watch the Diakiese fight. He's definitely going to be working on his leg kicks for sure. I just think Lando Vannata's got this one. I don't like the way Yancy Medeiros' career is going. Because he's won fights, but even when he's won fights... He takes a beating a lot of times. Like against Alex Oliveira. That was one of the most craziest fights I've ever seen. And he took a fucking pounding. A big pounding. He gave the pounding back. Don't get me wrong. He gave it back. And he gave it back plenty and ended up finishing Alex Oliveira in the third round. But he took a beating there. You know, he's had it in other fights as well. Against Dustin Poirier, that was a bad finish. Like, that was... I would rather have seen him get KO'd against Dustin Poirier, honestly, because to take a beating like that, he was completely out of it, just punch after punch, but because he was still standing, and it was 2015, they were just like, let it go. You know, if that was nowadays, they would stop that fight. But he took a beating off of fucking Dustin Poirier, man. To the body as well, it was nasty, and he got KO'd by Donald Cerrone, then he got finished by Gregor Gillespie. I didn't even know he got finished by Gregor Gillespie, to be honest. I thought that was a ride-out decision, but he got finished by Gregor Gillespie, apparently. That's news to me. Wow, how did I fucking miss that shit? I just remember Gregor Gillespie flinging him around like a dog toy. I don't actually remember a finish. Last second of the round? Okay, that rings a bell. Yeah, I remember that shit. Definitely. Yeah, I'm the guru. Yeah, I know that shit, man. Definitely, I knew everything coming into this. And then against Jim Miller, he lost as well. I don't know. I just don't like where Yancy Medeiros' career is. I really don't. Coming back down to 155, I kind of like him better at 170 because his style kind of... It means that he has to take a bit of a beating, you know? Like Diego Sanchez at 170, I prefer way more because he needs to have that durability in his life right now. The same story with Yancy Medeiros. I feel like his chin has been a little bit weird for a while. I just feel like Lando Vannata's got this one in the bag. Even though he lost to Drakkar Klose. Drakkar Klose is an amazing fighter. Mark Diakiese is an amazing fighter. Yancy Medeiros... I don't know. I don't know. I feel like just now when in their careers, with Yancy Medeiros being 32 and Lando Vannata being 27, coming into his prime still, he knows he still has a full career ahead of him. Yancy Medeiros isn't too much bigger either. He's a lot longer with the reach. But that's what Lando Vannata loves to do. Droop in on the inside with that lovely head movement on the way in, and then land bombs. I think he'll KO Yancy Medeiros in the first round. First round KO for Lando Vannata. That's what I'm seeing. And if he wins this one, listen, there are lightweights around that want fights. And Lando Vannata, as much as people know who Lando Vannata is, even though he doesn't have the best record in the UFC, everyone knows his name because of what he did to Tony Ferguson. He kind of came into the UFC with a big statement. And now everyone kind of knows of him. There are other guys like this in the UFC as well. Like Alex Hernandez. Although he's only 2-1 in the UFC. People know him. You know, he got the Cerrone fight very early, but when he came in, he made a big statement against Beneil Dariush and got ranked straight away in his debut. So people will always know about that. You know, they have that impact. When you make a big explosion on a scene, it triggers in people's memory. So everyone always knows of Lando Vannata. They know of his style. His wheel kick KO of John McDessie was fucking beautiful. I think that won KO of the year, of its year. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. Lando Vannata is a fucking entertaining guy. And if I wanted to see him take on another interesting lightweight, I don't know who I would go with. Okay? I really don't, because there's a bunch of guys to choose from. And I know Brock Weaver is on the same card. So if Brock Weaver, with all this hype, just so happens to beat Rodrigo Vargas, Lando Vannata is going to be coming off one win. Brock Weaver's going to be looking for a step up in competition. I don't know. I think that'd be a good fight to make. Is there any other lightweights on the card that would be interesting? Oh, if Jim Miller wins or Scott Holtzman, the winner of that one, they could take on Lando Vannata. There's great fights all around. You know the deal. Lightweight division. We're not struggling for fucking matchups like heavyweight and light heavyweight right now. And flyweight. We're talking about the lightweight division here. Okay? Stacked head to toe with orgasmic fighters. Just orgasmic levels of fighters right now. That's how many there are. It's orgasmic. It really is. I love seeing it. Just look at the rankings. Just take a moment sometimes in life. Go on rankingmma.com. Look at the 4 rankings. And just look at them for a second, okay? And just worship that shit. Everyone should be looking at them shits all the day. Every single day you should be looking at the full rankings, seeing who's on streaks and seeing who you got to look out for. Otherwise, you ain't really a fan. I feel like Lando Vannata's got this one in the bag. I like Yancy Medeiros, though. So I don't know who I'm rooting for. I just feel like at 155, listen, I've seen Yancy Medeiros get KO'd a couple times at 170. Coming back down to 155 when you've been KO'd 4 times in your career badly right now and you've had your wars. I don't think it's going to go well with a quick starter like Lando Vannata. Especially because Yancy Medeiros is coming off an injury. Like Lando Vannata fought in September. Healed himself back up, got straight back in there. He's active. Yancy Medeiros fought in January 2019, tried to come back, got injured, and has been off for a year and a month now. I don't like that, especially for a guy who's 32 years old, maybe on the downslope of his career. I'm going with Lando Vannata. I like everything about the fight for him. I think he gets it done in the first round by KO, and I think we're all talking about Lando Vannata come Sunday morning. There you go. Goodbye. Click that button there as usual. I will see you guys later.